I'm going to give answer to the following questions from the video, from the last chapters. So, for the first part, the first step is to identify the restrictions or the bottleneck. For example, we have the lab of the university, so we find that there is a bottleneck in the quality control step. So the first step will be to identify where is this bottleneck and why is it a bottleneck. For the second point, we are going to use in a higher way this point. For example, to organize the production, to organize this machine to be prepared to use it as possible as it is, or to use it in a maximum capacity. For the third step, we are going to organize the rest of the steps or the rest of the machines in order to be with a similar production to the bottleneck. For example, the first three production points and the other points will be organized to receive the production and give the production in the same speed of the bottleneck. Next, we are going to look for a solution for this bottleneck. Maybe if we have to add a new machine, or what is the solution that we are going to give to that bottleneck. And finally, to return to the first step and keep looking for these ways to make a better production. For the second question, we find three kind of restrictions. For the first one, we have the restrictions that are related to the machines. Here we find that these restrictions principally are because of the machine can't do something, or maybe in a production the machine have sometimes that we couldn't move or we couldn't change, so it's like a restriction of the machine. Or maybe the machine just have the capacity of make 3 productions per minute, so we can't make the machine to give more than this, so this will be like a restriction. For the human restrictions, we find the capacities of the people that are making the activities. For example, if it is physical capacity of the person and he couldn't make this activity or this work. And finally, we find the political restrictions that are more of the situation and affect in a bigger way to the company, making them telling them to do not do something because of the situation of the country. For the third question, we are going to talk about the innovation and the way that in the book they talk about it. Here we find that the innovation is principally related to one thing, that is the problem. So we find that there is a problematic or something that they want to solve. So we find that the innovation is like to look for a solution for this problem and to solve it, maybe with a different alternative or giving a new idea to look for a better way for this. For the fourth question, first we have the learning. Here we find that for this step it's something quite important, that is to take or to bring the continue keep enjoying in the project. So here we find that for example, if there is a production, it has constantly different aspects that used to affect the production. So with this continuous learning, we find we give different solutions for these problems, and if we have a new problem, we give a new solution and a new solution, and keep learning for what we have done to make new things. And for the second point, to give the production a like a vision of what does the people look for to keep giving them that what they require. For the second part, we have the we used to have some a problem and another problem and the same problem more than one time. So here we find that maybe the like the reason of this is that we don't use to change something that we are doing wrong. If we are doing something wrong more than one time, it's maybe because something of what we are doing isn't as good as we think. So when we see this, is maybe because we don't want to like change that, and maybe we don't take like the possibilities of giving this continuous learning. Finally, for the fifth point, I'm going to give 4 conclusions of the chapter. First, we have that the continuous learning that we were talking is quite important to have this way of thinking, so we can enjoy the company and keep being better each time. For the second point, the coordination. This principally for the bottlenecks. When we have a good coordination into the productive process, it helps us to organize in a better way the times that we have. Then a good conclusion could be to like give the opportunity to new things in production. Sometimes we don't want to change something because we have like we don't know what is going to happen, so we don't want to make this change. And finally, to watch or to give attention to the points that require and to like the meditions of the points that we require. With this information, we are able to make change and to transform. Finally, I'm going to give 3 questions that I have. For the first question, I have if it is as how hard is like to make that change of stop taking old medication kinds and to apply new kinds of medication. For the second point, I want to make the question of as how hard is to apply the continuous learning into a productive process. Maybe sometimes the people doesn't like to make like this adaptation, so they don't help or they don't let to make this change. And finally, when do we see that there is like a continuous mistake in a process or a recurrent mistake maybe? When do we make this change or like get a better start doing something over a problem?